Good morning, I'm Remo, and this is the Daily Signal for October 24th, 2025. Breaking overnight, Tropical Storm Melissa is crawling toward Jamaica and could explode into a catastrophic Category 4 hurricane by weekend, threatening millions with life-threatening flooding. Stay tuned for the rest of today's story.
Unfiltered. Now,
Here are the other top stories for October 24th, 2025. Story 1. Trump declares Israel won't touch the West Bank despite annexation vote fury from Washington. Story 2. Former president makes rare Malaysia visit, testing Prime Minister Anwar's China-US Balancing Act. Story 3. Video captures alleged Louvre jewel thieves escaping after daring museum heist in Paris. Story 4. North Korea breaks ground on memorial for soldiers killed fighting in Ukraine war. Story 5. EU leaders deliberately stall €140 billion Ukraine loan using frozen Russian assets. Story 6. King Charles meets Pope Leo XIV in historic Vatican summit. Story 7. Trump abandons diplomacy, threatens Putin with hardline tactics in Ukraine talks. Story 8. Two rigged elections expose the growing dangers of one-party rule worldwide. Story 9. Europe faces economic reality check as climate agenda hits financial roadblocks. Now let's dive into each story. This is developing fast. Tropical Storm Melissa is moving at just 3 miles per hour across the Caribbean, and that slow crawl is exactly what makes it terrifying. Here's what happened overnight. Melissa strengthened to 50-mile-per-hour sustained winds while sitting 240 miles southeast of Kingston, Jamaica. The National Hurricane Center issued a hurricane watch for southwestern Haiti and tropical storm watch for Jamaica. But here's the critical detail you need to understand. This storm is about to explode. Meteorologists are forecasting Melissa could intensify into a major hurricane, possibly Category 4 or even Category 5, by this weekend. Why? Weak steering currents mean Melissa will linger over the warmest Caribbean waters for days, feeding on that energy like fuel to a fire. The immediate threat is flooding. Haiti and the Dominican Republic are already bracing for 5 to 10 inches of rain through Friday. We're talking life-threatening flash floods and landslides. This matters to you because Melissa could impact major shipping lanes and tourist destinations. If it reaches Category 4 strength, we're looking at one of the most dangerous Caribbean storms in recent memory. Trump just dropped a diplomatic bombshell declaring Israel is not going to do anything with the West Bank, directly contradicting recent Israeli annexation moves that have Washington furious. This statement came as U.S. officials are actively condemning Israel's latest annexation vote. The timing is explosive because it puts Trump at odds with current U.S. foreign policy. Here's what you need to know. The West Bank annexation has been a red line for decades of American diplomacy. Trump's assurance that nothing will happen suggests either inside knowledge or a major gamble. This matters because any West Bank annexation would collapse already fragile peace negotiations and could trigger massive regional instability. Trump's words carry weight whether he's in office or not. Trump just landed in Malaysia for a rare diplomatic visit, and it's putting Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim in an impossible position. Here's the challenge. Malaysia has spent years carefully balancing between U.S. interests and China's growing influence in Southeast Asia. Now, Trump's presence forces Anwar to pick sides publicly. The stakes are huge. Malaysia controls critical shipping lanes, hosts major Chinese investments, but also needs U.S. security partnerships. One wrong move could cost billions in trade or security guarantees. This matters because Malaysia's choice will signal whether smaller nations can stay neutral in the U.S.-China rivalry or if they'll be forced to choose sides. The answer affects global trade routes you depend on daily. Breaking security footage shows alleged jewel thieves fleeing the Louvre after what appears to be a daring heist at the world's most famous museum. The video captures figures escaping through what should have been secure exits, raising serious questions about protection of priceless cultural artifacts. This matters because the Louvre houses irreplaceable human heritage. If thieves can penetrate its security, no cultural treasure is safe. Expect major security overhauls at museums worldwide. North Korea just broke ground on a sacred sanctuary memorial for soldiers it claims died fighting in Ukraine, the the first official admission of North Korean casualties in the war. This is massive news because Pyongyang has never publicly acknowledged sending troops to Ukraine. Now they're building monuments to honor the dead. The memorial construction suggests significant North Korean losses, far more than intelligence estimates. It's also a propaganda goldmine for Kim Jong-un to rally domestic support. This matters because North Korean involvement escalates the Ukraine conflict into a truly global war. These casualties could justify even deeper North Korean military support for Russia. European Union leaders are deliberately stalling a €140 billion loan to Ukraine, money that was supposed to come from frozen Russian assets. Here's the real story. The delay isn't about logistics, it's about politics. EU members are fighting over how to legally seize Russian money and who controls the funds. Meanwhile, Ukraine's government faces a cash crisis. Winter is coming, infrastructure needs rebuilding, and soldiers need equipment. Every day of delay costs lives. This matters because EU unity is cracking under financial pressure. If Europe can't fund Ukraine consistently, American taxpayers may face even bigger bills to keep Ukraine fighting. King Charles just met Pope Leo XIV at the Vatican in a historic encounter between British royalty and the Catholic Church. This meeting is significant because it signals healing between institutions that split violently 500 years ago during Henry VIII's break with Rome. The symbolism matters. In an era of global division, seeing Protestant and Catholic leaders unite sends a powerful message about reconciliation. Analysis reveals Trump has abandoned diplomatic carrots and is now wielding sticks against Putin in Ukraine negotiations. The shift means threats instead of incentives. Where Trump once offered deals, he's now promising consequences. This represents a fundamental change in his approach to ending the Ukraine war. The risk? Hardline tactics could backfire, pushing Putin toward escalation rather than compromise. But they might also signal strength that brings real results. This matters because Trump's negotiating style could determine whether Ukraine war ends in months or years. Two recent elections in unnamed countries exposed the growing dangers of one-party rule: rigged voting, suppressed opposition, and manufactured results. These flawed elections prove how quickly democracy dies when one party controls everything: media, courts, and election systems. The pattern is spreading globally. When elections become theater instead of choice, citizens lose their voice and stability crumbles. Europe is hitting economic reality on its ambitious climate agenda as costs soar and growth slows. Rising energy prices, supply chain disruptions, and inflation are forcing European leaders to choose between climate goals and economic survival. The question: can Europe maintain climate leadership while keeping citizens warm and employed? Early signs suggest major policy adjustments coming. Three major themes emerge from today's stories. First, global conflicts are escalating. From North Korean casualties in Ukraine to Trump's hardline Putin tactics, we're seeing proxy wars become direct confrontations. Second, economic pressure is reshaping politics everywhere. Europe's climate agenda faces reality, EU-Ukraine funding stalls, and Malaysia balances economic partnerships. Third, traditional institutions are being tested. Democracy faces rigged elections, diplomatic norms crack under pressure, but we also see historic reconciliation like the Royal Papal meeting. Here's what this means for your daily life. Expect higher prices from global instability, extreme weather from storms like Melissa, and continued uncertainty in international markets. The key takeaway: we're witnessing a fundamental reshuffling of global power structures. Stay informed, stay prepared, and remember that today's headlines shape tomorrow's reality. That's the Daily Signal for October 24th, 2025. I'm Remo. Subscribe for tomorrow's breaking news, share this episode, and stay ahead of the stories shaping your world. Until tomorrow, stay informed.
Unfiltered. Now.